The coffee shop was a sanctuary until Karen walked in, her heels clicking like a countdown to chaos. By the time her voice sliced through the morning hum, you'd swear the air itself flinched. It was 7:42 a.m. at Brewed Awakening, a cozy spot in downtown Portland where locals sipped oat milk lattes and scrolled through their phones. The barista, Mia, a 22-year-old with a nose ring and a knack for remembering names, greeted every customer with a warm, "Good morning." It was her thing, her way of making the world a little kinder, one cup at a time. But Karen, 48, in a crisp blazer and a scowl that could curdle milk, didn't want kindness. She wanted coffee, and she wanted it now. Mia's cheerful "good morning" hit Karen like a personal insult. "Don't you dare talk to me like that," Karen snapped, her voice loud enough to make heads turn. Mia blinked, confused. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I was just—" "Don't ma'am me." Karen's finger jabbed the air, inches from Mia's face. "You people always act so fake. Just make my coffee and shut up." The shop went quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like it's holding its breath. Mia's smile faltered, but she nodded, turning to the espresso machine. She was used to tough customers, but something about Karen's venom stung deeper. The line behind Karen shuffled awkwardly. A college student named Ethan pulled out his phone, hitting record. He'd seen this kind of meltdown before. His TikTok was full of them, but this felt different. Karen wasn't just angry. She was unraveling. "You're all the same," she muttered, loud enough for the shop to hear. "Lazy, entitled kids who think they can talk down to me." Mia's hands shook as she steamed the milk, but she kept her voice steady. "Ma'am, I'm just doing my job. Your latte will be ready in a minute." That's when Karen crossed a line no one saw coming. "Don't you lecture me, you little," and out came a slur, sharp and ugly, a word that hadn't been hurled in that shop before. It landed like a grenade, and the room exploded in gasps. Ethan's phone caught it all. So did the shop's security camera. The crowd erupted. A woman in a red coat shouted, "You can't say that." A man in a beanie stepped forward, telling Karen to leave. Mia, pale but composed, set the latte on the counter. "Here's your order," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Karen snatched the cup, spilling half of it, and stormed out, cursing under her breath. By noon, Ethan's video was everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. The internet did what it does best: amplify. The clip, just 47 seconds long, showed Karen's rant in full color, her face twisted with rage, the slur unmistakable. Hashtags like Karen at Brewed and hate speech latte trended by dinner. Strangers online called her Coffee Karen, dissecting her every word, her every gesture. Some dug into her LinkedIn, finding her real estate job and her polished headshot. Others sent death threats. Mia, meanwhile, went home and cried. She'd dealt with rude customers before, but this was different. That word wasn't just an insult, it was a weapon, meant to degrade her for existing. Her manager, Priya, gave her the rest of the week off, but Mia couldn't shake the feeling that she'd done something wrong. "I just said good morning," she told her roommate, her voice cracking. Why did she hate me so much? Karen's life unraveled faster than a cheap sweater. By the next morning, her employer had issued a statement. "We do not condone hate speech in any form. Karen Mitchell is no longer with our firm." Her phone buzzed with notifications, angry emails, texts from friends who suddenly weren't friends anymore, and a voicemail from her sister begging her to fix this. Karen locked herself in her apartment, scrolling through the online vitriol. She hadn't meant to say that word, not really. She was just so angry at her divorce, her job, the world that kept changing without asking her permission. But the internet didn't care about her excuses. The police got involved when the video hit local news. Portland's hate speech ordinance was strict, and Karen's outburst checked every box. Detectives showed up at her door with questions, their faces blank but their notebooks open. "It was a moment of anger," Karen pleaded. "I'm not a racist." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, the footage tells a different story." The court date was set for a month later. Karen hired a lawyer, a slick guy in a suit who promised to spin the narrative. He argued she was under stress, that the slur was a slip of the tongue, that she deserved a second chance. Mia, called as a witness, sat in the courtroom, her hands folded tightly in her lap. She didn't want to be there, didn't want to relive that morning, but she felt she owed it to herself. "I just wanted to make her day better," Mia said on the stand, her voice steady now. "Instead, she made me feel like I was nothing." The judge wasn't swayed by Karen's lawyer. The fine was $2,500, plus community service 50 hours at a local diversity training center. Karen's face burned as she left the courtroom, cameras flashing. The headlines were merciless. "Coffee Karen fined for hate speech." Online, the memes multiplied. Karen's face photoshopped onto a latte art disaster, captioned, "Decoff doesn't fix bigotry." But the story didn't end there. Mia started getting messages, hundreds of them. Strangers sent her coffee gift cards, handwritten notes, even flowers. A GoFundMe for her college tuition raised $10,000 in a week. She didn't want the attention, but it reminded her that kindness still had a pulse. She went back to Brood Awakening, greeting customers with the same "good morning," though now it came with a flicker of hesitation. Karen, meanwhile, disappeared from public view. Her social media went dark. Her real estate listings vanished. Whispers in her neighborhood said she'd moved to a smaller town, somewhere she could start over. But starting over doesn't erase the past. That word, that moment, would follow her forever. A ghost she couldn't outrun. The coffee shop returned to its rhythm, but the air felt different. Customers tipped better, smiled more, as if trying to make up for what happened. Priya hung a wooden sign behind the counter, hand-painted with the words cut deeper than knives. It was Mia's idea, a quiet reminder of the power we wield when we open our mouths. The internet moved on, as it always does, chasing the next scandal. But for Mia, the scar lingered. She wondered if Karen ever thought about her, ever regretted that morning. She hoped so, not out of spite, but because regret might mean change. For Karen, the fine was just money. The real cost was everything else: her job, her reputation, her sense of who she was. In the end, it wasn't just about a barista and a customer. It was about how a single moment, a single word, can ripple out, breaking things that can't be fixed. Mia kept pouring coffee, kept smiling, but she'd never forget how it felt to be reduced to nothing. Karen, wherever she was, would never forget the weight of her own words. What do you think? Was the fine enough, or does justice demand more? Share your thoughts on where accountability ends and forgiveness begins.